Radio Rahim here with Rob McCracken. You have a big hurdle ahead of you in Saudi Arabia in just a couple of months, man. But first, I just want to revisit what happened in New York. And since then, how have you been managing not just Joshua's boxing, but the mental aspect of this game? For a guy's first championship loss, first professional loss, it's got to be tough to get him focused back on the job at hand.
Yeah, it's been tough, and if you look at his career and how quickly he's got to the top and you know, all the fame, adulation and the success that he's had, yeah, it's been difficult. But he's settled down now, he's motivated. Somebody talked to me about having 2 or 3 warm-ups. It's probably unrealistic in the sport at the moment, and Anthony Joshua world, that would take him 18 months, 2 years, and he has no interest in that. He's not someone that's going to be here for another 20 years. He wants to achieve things and compete against the best, and he's lost to Ruiz. He wants to try and put that right. He wants to try and beat Ruiz, and that's what heavyweight boxing is all about. If you lose your titles, you can't really. Why would you hide from the person who you lost them to? You got to try and get them back, and we've seen it time and time again where you can get them back if you apply yourself.
I know Josh got a mentality. I want those titles right back. I'm sure Hearn wants the rematch immediately. But solely from a trainer's perspective, would you have liked one fight, one tune-up to work on some things and get ready for Ruiz in a different way?
Yeah, I think that I think people don't realise that in this day and age, at this level, the fighters, he's the boss. He makes his own decisions. You ask for your advice and stuff, but his first thing was the next day, I want to get my titles back. I want to box Ruiz, and that's what he's driven to do. And you've seen heavyweight champions lose the titles and have the rematch with the person they lost to. So he's not going to go and skulk away and hide and take another year, 18 months to. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to try and beat Ruiz and get his titles back. He doesn't want to fight lower level opponents, and that's the reality of it. He's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing, and in my opinion, if he gets it right and he carries out the tactics, he can get his titles back.
Well, as they say, victory has 1,000 fathers and defeat has none. So you took your share of criticism when your fighter lost. The first thing was Ruiz saying that he was punching in between Joshua's punches, that Joshua opens up too much. Do you find that criticism fair? Is that something that you feel worth working on?
Well, look, I mean, where you've got a huge amount of attention and you've won heavyweight titles, he won every heavyweight title in a short space of time, Anthony, didn't he? And, look at the coach's job. The coach gets no credit when he's winning everything. Nothing, zilch, zero, and I don't want it. And then as soon as they lose, but it's a money-based sport, and it's money-driven. And, a lot of the criticism, comes from people who've tried to work him in the past or tried to sign him or tried to, whatever. I don't really take a lot of notice of it. The people in the camp that worked on the camps and the last few camps, it's not just me, I'm the head coach. We have, we work with a team of people, coaching him, and I've always headed it up. But, listen, it was a hard night. We've seen great fighters lose and get KO'd. They've came back and won in the rematch and got the tactics right. If Anthony can employ the tactics that he needs to do, he can win the rematch. But he has no intentions on going away and having 2 or 3 warm-up fights. He'll do that in the gym. It's just unrealistic for him to do that. That's the reality of it.
Anyone will tell you that, boxers especially will say that boxing is mostly mental. Some say 80-20 even. Was there anything, would you give any credence to the idea that maybe Joshua wasn't taking Ruiz seriously enough, or his head wasn't in the game on the night? Was there something off?
I mean, it's not an excuse. Andy Ruiz is a good fighter anyway. People were telling me he was good beforehand. I knew he was good. But I just think that when the Miller fight fell through, he was motivated for Miller. Was his motivation the same? Probably not. A few days without an opponent. But it's not an excuse. It's just that it's a learning curve for Anthony, because you can't not fully focus on the opponent at hand, and you can't be watching other fighters, and you can't be, you got to focus solely on the threat in front of you, and that's the fighter that was on June the 1st was Andy Ruiz. And listen, he got in there, he tried to win the fight, he wasn't, but could he have been more focused? Yeah, of course he could. He'll tell you that himself.
He called it a lucky punch. A lot of people have reacted to that. Do you agree there was a lucky punch?
I just think he knocked Ruiz down, and then he tried to finish him off when Ruiz wasn't ready to go. And Ruiz is a good hooker up close, and he knows what he's doing. He's low centre of gravity, and he shoots the hooks over the top. So you don't want to take him on. You got to box him, and if you don't box Ruiz, you're going to get into trouble. So AJ knows what he did wrong. He's got to put it right, and the beauty of it is he gets a chance to put that right.
It's highly unlikely that Ruiz goes in there on the rematch looking to box any more than he did in the first fight. It's probably still pressure. He's going to land those hooks you talked about. And we've seen a lot of side-to-side photos, at least on the internet, with Joshua looking slimmed down. Is that part of the game plan? Are you looking to lighten him up a bit, take some of the muscle off? And
you heard both the fighters. I think Ruiz said he wants to be leaner as well. I know his coach said he wants him leaner for the next fight. You always want your fighter a little bit leaner and lighter. AJ's fully focused on this fight. He knows the threat, but he wants his belts back. And I think you'll see both fighters in better shape. I think you'll see better game plans carried out by the fighters. And I think that they know each other more now. The coaches know both fighters a bit more now. So it's going to be a great fight. And I think, the world's going to get to see a real spectacle. But AJ doesn't want to hide. He wants to fight Ruiz in the rematch. He wants to get his titles back. And that's what he intends to do.
And lastly, as a coach, as a strategist, is this the kind of fight where now you maybe didn't have enough time before or think it was necessary to prepare specifically for Andy Ruiz and his style? Or is this the kind of situation where you just need to make Joshua perform better at what he normally does, putting aside whatever Ruiz intends to do?
Yeah, I just think, Ruiz is going to come. He knows what he's doing. I think AJ's got to be calmer in the ring. He's got to punch at the right times. He's got to move at the right times. He's got to control Ruiz, and he's got to carry that out round after round, and not worry about knocking him down or hurting him. Just win each round at a time, and keep boxing him and bring him onto the shots. And I think he can do the job. I think he can get it right. But it's going to be a great fight.
Would you share with us when you guys left the ring, the lights were dimmed, you're finally with your fighter for the first time, whether that be in the locker room or maybe days later in the gym, I don't know. Well, what was the conversation that you had with Joshua?
Yeah, it's just difficult, isn't it? I mean, I've worked with him for 9 years. He's won a lot of things in 9 years, and then bang, you lose. This is boxing. This is why there's a crowd. This is why people are interested in it. Anything can happen in heavyweight boxing. It was just disappointment. He was really disappointed. He obviously was upset about it all, but he was positive at the same time. He said, I learned a lesson. I'm going to put it right. He was determined to put it right the next day in New York when I met him. But talk is cheap. Preparation and executing the job on the night is all that matters now. And the beauty of this is they go with it again, and Anthony gets a chance to put it right. And it's going to be fascinating build-up. It's going to be a tough training camp for him, but it's one he's looking forward to. And he's still young. He's 29, so he's not past it. He's a young man, and young men can carry things out remarkable.
Credit to him. He said he would keep his team together, and he did. But you, as a trainer, you've got your own desires and goals, and want to accomplish things and have. Is there something that you feel you could do better for the rematch? Is there something that you will change in your preparation or style of coaching that will possibly bring Joshua success in this rematch?
I think my job is to instill that Josh does things at the right times, that he actually does that, and he makes the right decisions at the right times. It's a fight. It's reactive fighting. It's a boxing match. Professional is like a fight. A fight breaks out on the street. Anything can happen. It's the one who's controlled normally wins. Josh has got to be controlled, and that's what he's got to do, and that's going to be part of the game plan. I'm not going to go into the technical side of it, but certainly he's got to be controlled when he's in there, and he's got to win one round at a time, and he's got to carry out the plan that he's going to train into and going to agree to as well, which he will.
Radio Rahim with Rob McCracken in Anthony Joshua's corner for the rematch against Ruiz, December 7th in Saudi Arabia. Can't wait to see you in that corner and doing that work again. Thank you so much, Rob. Radio Rahim with Rob McCracken.